Hello, everybody. My name is Sally. Good to see you all tonight. It's come to my attention that some people are asking a little bit of business advice, and with my own experience, especially as of late, trying to get my own business up off the ground, I just wanted to make a real quick video to simplify some of the real simple business basics of what it really means to build a business. So some of you may be asking, like, well, what qualifies her to point the finger and judge and lecture us? I can tell you that from my early 20s on up until just recently, I have always been in the business world doing various administrative upper level management type tasks, from accounting to real estate and even government level, middle management to top management, to running a whole complete office on my own without an assistant. Also, I have an educational background and a degree in business admin. So that's what qualifies me, just in case you were wondering. And so I want to talk a little bit about some of the do's and don'ts, what it means to the very, very basics when you are first starting out. Some of the things you need to think about that, well, for some of us, it may be common sense. To others, it's like, well, I thought that was just a given. It just comes naturally. Well, apparently it doesn't to some people, which is really a crying shame, especially when what makes such easy sense to you doesn't even occur to another human being, and it is mind-blowing. In fact, I believe the term they use nowadays is when something has just blindsided you. Okay, I've been pretty blindsided a lot from a lot of businesses lately, so I might, if I have time, I might get into that. And if it seems like I'm going off to the side and I'm rambling on and on about something, I just want for the rest of you to know that I do have some friends that are overseas, and so English is their second language. So when it comes to giving business tips and advice and my experience in sharing that, especially for legality purposes, I need to be as crystal clear, because they may not be familiar with some of the lingo and the verbiage, or corporate language that I'm going to use. So if you have any questions or comments, you can put them in the space below or whatever. So anyways, what does it really mean when you're looking for a good business, or like say General Mills versus Kraft Food Company, one veterinarian versus another veterinarian? What makes a good business? I can tell you from my experience, combined with my education, that a business, when you're first starting out, you need to think about your core values. Before you even get businessy, you need to think about why you're doing this. How, of course, like everyone's going to think, well, the number one thing is so I can survive, so I can pay my bills, right? Make money. Maybe even get lucky and get rich someday, woo, and hire lots of employees and provide jobs, blah, blah. But, really, we need to get down to even more simplified terms than that. We need to think about core values. You need to have at least 5 to 10 core values of why you're doing this business. What sets you apart from other companies? So let's take General Mills versus Kraft Foods. Okay, I had to do several papers on these companies, and the one thing that I noticed right away that set them apart from one another is, despite the fancy bells and whistles and their really well put together websites, I noticed there was a major difference in the way they treated their employees. One of them had something called a mission statement, which we'll get into that later. Um, and one of those, their mission, not only did they have a mission statement, they had their corporate company policy, which is like step 3. We'll talk about that later. Business plan. And then I don't even know if we're going to even have time to get into this or not, but transparency is really a big deal nowadays. If you do not have your financials posted on a public domain out there for the world to see, wide open, totally naked, of how much your assets are worth, what your debits, assets, everything about your business is out there, wide open. You're not hiding anything. That's kind of a new trend, and they call that GAAP, GAAP, the Good Accounting Administrative Principles. And so there is a special website just for recording your financials, and that's really a good idea. Okay, like say if you run a food business, you might want to get the FDA. Of course, the FDA is totally crooked, and that's another discussion for another time. They're twisted. So anyways, let's get back to core values. You need to have at least 5 to 10 little building blocks of what makes you better, or what puts you in the runnings with all these other people that have been doing this business for years. What sets you apart? So once you get really good and clear on what those core values are, such as integrity, customer service, loyalty, things that, the care of your employees, those kinds of things are going to set you apart from other businesses. So once you get that really good and clear, and you can just make a list of, things, honesty, blah, 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 transparency is going to be like one of your number one core values. Okay. So you get that list going. So the second step, and this is what they taught me in school, is that if you get you're about to apply for a job, right? And you're looking at this company, you're looking at their website, and they have not practiced GAAP, the Good Accounting Administrative Principles. They have not recorded their financials publicly. And if they don't even have a mission statement, okay, so this is like step one. The basics of your core values, and step one comes your mission statement. If you do not have a mission statement, run. Run from that company. Don't even apply with them. And the professors at my university taught me to run from a company that does not have a mission statement. So, you can say, well, my company is about. However, that's not the same as what your mission, your objective, what is your goal. So you need to get really good and clear on what those core values are, so that you can write a 3 to 6 line paragraph mission statement. Like, here's a good example. I even still have part of it memorized. I was on the accounting team for an assisted living facility at when I first moved back to California. And part of their mission statement was to enable the independence of freedom of choice for the elderly. Okay, and that was just like one sentence out of this like 6-sentence thing, their mission statement. So anyways, we would have a company meeting every Friday, and if you could recite the mission statement, you got a prize. So of course, I was new on the job, wanted to make a good first impression, and it seemed like, wow, I was like the only one that was really getting into it. It was really kind of sad, but I loved the mission statement. However, this was before I got my education. Even though I had mass experience, and that in and of itself is, education. I'm not downing that at all. Sometimes experience is more important than education. But, I now have both, and I actually did learn a few things in school. I was surprised because I kind of really thought I knew it all. So this mission statement said nothing about the care of its employees. So as I was in school and I was doing all these research papers, I actually kind of, I think, stumbled onto them by accident, the Kraft Food Company. They're a big company. You know how they got that way? Because one of their core values that we talked about before, even step one, their core value was the care of their employees. They've gotten so big that their mission statement actually kind of has been evolved over the years. They've bought out other big food companies. In fact, I think they might even own General Mills now. I might have to look that up. Anyways, they had a line in there about the care of their employees, of providing a safe and clean work environment, and something about actually being, treating them with compassion and care. It just was really touching the way they had it phrased. Well, now they've kind of, changed that mission statement around, and they've got a whole page dedicated. When you go to click on careers, the career tab, they have like a whole credo. And a credo is sort of like another mission statement that talks about one of the core building blocks, which is, the care of our employees. And it's like a whole page dedicated with all kinds of employee reviews that some of them are very honest and raw, about the workplace atmosphere. Okay, so now that we got step one established, your mission statement, we have to move on to some serious stuff. And that is setting the tone. Okay, you can't just expect people to be on the same wavelength thinking pattern just because you're very clear and you ask them, would you like to volunteer for this event? Or do you want to do this or that? Don't just assume that they're going to get it, because that is what's called a hidden expectation. You just expect that they're going to get it, right? I mean, you couldn't be more clear, right? Wrong. You need to put everything in black and white. And the way that you do that is by writing a business plan. Now, when you are getting a business degree, you start learning all these basic fundamentals, these building blocks of what makes a business successful. So, you may have tried and failed, but when you have the building blocks of step-by-step procedures, that's going to really save you in the long run. So this business plan was actually part of like my final thesis, if you will. I'm not, that highly educated yet. I will, when I go to get my master's degree, you have to write like a 300-page thesis or some crap like that. But, at the end of the road, we have a capstone class that puts everything you've learned for those 2 years of that part of your education and actually puts it into action. So you do your core values, your mission statement, your business plan. You have to come up with a business plan that outlines your business, okay? Even above that now, what are we on, step 3? After the business plan, you need to write a corporate business policy. A company policy protects you and it protects your employees. It also protects any clients. This covers everybody. So that way someone can't go back and say, but you said. In fact, on a little side note here, get rid of the word but. Nobody likes the word but. Think of some man's big hairy butt. I don't want to hear the word but. I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to think of stinky cigarette butts. Don't stop saying the word but. It's not attractive, okay? In fact, watch what you say. Watch your language, period. And I know we all get on our Facebooks and we all have our slip-ups and our gripes and whines and blah, blah. However, when we got our business face on, I'm not saying let's be fake or anything like that. I'm just saying be mindful and keep in mind positive language. So don't say, oh, I would have, but. You simply, if there's been a mistake made, you own up to it, you apologize, and when you say, I'm sorry, also that means I'll never do it again. So, you don't ever want to go and break your word to a customer, because it only takes one bad review and it takes 30 good reviews to erase that bad review. Okay, so that's another little tidbit that I learned in school. So, corporate policies, company policies, you would not believe the dumb things and the office politics and the stupid petty fights that break out because so-and-so said. And, you're going to find that a lot of times, even as an independent contracted basis, where everyone is responsible for themselves, they're going to come back on you and say, but you said, or blah, blah, blah. And so that's why it's so important to have that corporate policy to back you up, because if somebody's trying to bend the rules and play a funny game with you, you look right at them and you say, really, so what does the company policy say about that? and then you wait. You don't ever let somebody bully you in your own business, okay? Don't ever allow your employees to disrespect you and talk back to you, okay? Your company policy is your insurance plan, okay? So I've shared a couple of times that I've actually written some company policies for some virtual companies. It's sort of a role-playing kind of type thing. However, they actually cash out this play money and they cash it out for real live money, and it's about half the amount, but that adds up over time. So in this virtual world, I had the privilege of writing the company policy. Basically, I set up the whole administrative thing, and this was when I was fresh out of school. I really wanted that experience, whether it was virtual or real. It just was exciting to me because, even though for most of you that know me know that I've been a professional dancer and an artist since I was 5 years old, but I've got that businessy, serious side to me as well. And so, the whole office nerd in me just jumped up and down for joy, and I got to write this company policy and be the boss, and I was the manager, and I was going to be able to tell people what to do. Well, a situation came up, and somebody tried to go over my head. And, since this was my first time ever experiencing this, and, my parents kind of passed away when I was young, so I didn't have that. Mama said there's going to be days like this. I really did not see this coming at all. When this person tried to go over my authority, over my head, and jump to the CEO of the company, she crumbled. She couldn't even back up her own company policy. And I said, hey, I wrote this for you. I had you sit down and read this word for word, make any corrections, any changes, take in parts, take out parts, like parking policy. Okay, that totally didn't apply. However, in your case, you might be having employees that are having fights over parking spaces, and that guy gets to park there, and I was there first, and he hit my bumper, and we need to call an adjuster or, insurance, attorney, whatever. Okay, so there are basic company setup programs out there like LegalZoom, Business in a Box. There's actually quite a few good ones out there that will at least get you something to cover your butt. One of my very first administrative jobs, I saw this very strange folder in my boss's desk that said CYA. And I'm like, what's the CYA folder? Okay, so think about that for a minute. What do you think CYA stands for? Cover your... Yeah. He actually had a physical folder in his desk drawer that said, cover your ass. And, there were certain things, certain deadlines that he had to meet. And he needed to make sure that he covered his butt, So he would check that folder every couple of days to make sure that, he did not get so overwhelmed in all the mass paperwork. This was for FedEx Ground, and you know that they move fast. I mean, it's FedEx. You have to be on top of it. Yeah, what a wild ride for my very first administrative job. It was one of my favorite jobs. It was one of the toughest jobs. I learned the most, I think, out of all jobs. Even, I think I learned more there than I did at the government level job that I had. So, anyways, having a corporate policy to cover your butt is an absolute. So, look in, sometimes there's a free template out there that will cover a lot of legalities, stuff that you didn't even know you needed to even be said out loud. It's like, duh, doesn't everybody know better than to do that? Well, apparently there's some people out there that look normal. They look very put together, and, they're doing really well, and yet you have no idea that they're fighting some kind of an illness or physical disability or whatever, and they're embarrassed, they're hiding it, and next thing you know, they have a slip and fall in your parking lot, or maybe they have an argument that got way out of hand because they have a hard time emotionally. You just never know about people. So this will help to cover you and protect you, and it will protect them too. Okay, so after the company policy, I really want to talk about some of these flashy dashy websites that I've seen that are missing a mission statement. So if you don't have one, it's not a big deal. Just get one together and put it on there. And make sure that when people want to check out your credentials and stuff, I had one website that, yeah, it was there. However, I had to scroll down through pages and pictures and galleries and all this stuff way at the bottom in these little teeny tiny letters. There was this thing about us. And it's like, whoa, no, that should be at the very top of the page. I remember way back in 1999 when I took one of my very first college courses, and it was for web design, and it was an elective to kind of fill some of the gap that I needed for my, degree. So I took a web design class. Computers for the home were all of a sudden like the new thing, kind of like colored TVs back in the 50s. So if you owned a computer, you were like rich. So, it was the hot thing to get into web design. So the teacher advised us over and over, no matter how tempting and how good you think it looks, get rid of the fancy pictures, the banners, the bells, the whistles, the videos. Don't overdo it with too many links. The simpler is more professional. And of course, on my personal web page, I had swinging gothic spiders, and I had like all this bells and whistles. I totally overdid it, and everybody just treated it like a big joke. In fact, I don't even think it made it on the college server like he promised that he would for all of us. Because it's when you have too many bells and whistles, not only does that lag other people's internet connection down, it people don't take you very serious when you have that. Less is more. That's sort of an American term that you may have heard, and it does ring true even to this day. So the about us, what qualifies you to run your business or to even have this business, those need to be up at the top in clear view. So add that. And under the about us, you can separate out the mission statement, our mission statement, company policy. Most of the time, that's all under the About Us tab. It just really kind of depends on how much of a minimalist you want to be. You don't want it to be so minimal that it's just downright plain and boring, and they're like, that's it. And then they just, they don't even look at your web page because they're like, this isn't a business. You have to have just the right amount of eye candy, on your website without going overboard. However, the one thing that I strongly suggest, and the first thing that I look for now that I'm educated plus experienced, is I look for that corporate policy. I look to see if they're practicing GAAP. I look to see if their financials are posted with the IRS, government, whatever site that is. I look to see what their mission statement is, and number one, what their core values are. So I don't think there's really much else I need to discuss at this time. Uh, Trying to think like any do's or don'ts, like don't make promises you can't keep. Um, you know, don't make remarks on your Facebook when you know that employee or that subcontractor or whatever is going to see it. Um, yeah, I just, if you have any questions, post them below. I'm not saying that I know it all. I know everything. I just have learned a lot dealing with businesses, a lot with trying to get my own going, which, I don't consider this like a big, serious, business, like I'm going to sell golf clubs or, and eventually rent out a building or, I don't really see it going that far. I just, as you know, I'm a K-pop X instructor. And so I, um, I'm just looking for a place to teach, and I've been getting the jerk around. And it turns out that the two parks that I'm just really having a lot of trouble with, turns out that they have the same supervisor. So no wonder it's happening. When I made the connection and I bugged enough people and, you know, chewed enough ears, I finally found out some truths. And, it's amazing how people will open up to you, if you're polite, professional, and nice, even though you are just flaming mad on the inside. So I learned a lot today, and I think I've made this, unless a miracle happens, I'm probably going to just wait because, as they say in America, good things come to those who wait. So there may be a big spiritual reason. I mean, I know that sounds like, psychobabble and crazy talk of, like the hand of God is like keeping me from, teaching this, for the fall semester. But it just seems like it's really not going to work out. There's some very unprofessional practices happening that I will be reporting. And I know now who to report it to. So you know who you are. You're not getting away with it. And I will take you down. No, just kidding. Kidding. Okay, so like I said, post your questions, comments below. If I forgot to go over anything, I'll be more than happy to do another video and share. If you need resources or whatever, feel free to message me privately. And I hope, that kind of helped to answer some questions. And I've been meaning to do this for a long time because there's so many of you out there, whether you're selling a makeup line or, one of my good friends, she's been in business for three years now, and she's gotten to the point that she actually really needs to hire some actual employees, and she needs to take that big leap. I have another friend that she does some business on the side. That sounds so bad, but she sells Mary Kay. Okay, so I have quite a few people that they're independent, they are entrepreneurs, but they have no business background, they've never worked in an office, they don't know. I've done everything under the sun, from government level to real estate, from FedEx Ground to assisted living facilities to office manager for an apartment rental to, God, you name it. I've been there, done it, seen it all. I have also heard every excuse, half truth, outright lie, and piece of BS out there. I know the corporate politics, and that is why I took my $18,000 education and pretty much pitched it out the window, because I got to that place that I finally had enough of the company politics. And today it felt really good to look that woman right in the eye and say that that is no excuse and that is unacceptable. And you either make it or you don't. So if she's not getting the training that she needs and she's pulling this business with me, I'm going to have to report that. I'm sorry, but it's not okay. At your 3-month mark comes your probation. And after probation, you have either made it or you haven't. You cannot make excuses after that. So anyways, yeah, I think I've just made the decision that I'm going to just wait for Roland School District. And within 5 days, I picked up the application Monday, turned it in on Tuesday with my brochures. Thank you very much, Maddie. Miss Maddie from K-Pop X, you've provided us with absolutely fabulous business tools and little brochures, pamphlets, all these things to help get us started. And that is what really got my foot in the door, was having this little business packet. And so good on you for getting this far and having these professional tools made. So I wish you luck establishing some policies. And also, if you just go like with business in a box, what you do is at the top, it starts off with basic plans and things like that. But when you want to get down to the nitty gritty, such as employee handbooks, applications, absentee policies. I mean, there's a 1,000 different policies to handle just about any situation, from bad behavior to absenteeism or not showing up for the job. There's also, corporate guidelines for, rewards and things of that nature so that there's no favoritism. I mean, there's every form under the sun. You just go onto the left, where under the search box, and you just type in employee, and then like a boatload of employee forms will come up, and then the hard work comes, because that's where you have to incorporate your logo, your name, and basically put it in your own words. Oh, and so to wrap this whole thing up, I'm sorry, I got off track a little bit. One of the most important things is, once you get the core values, the mission statement, company policy, you know that you're practicing GAMP. You found a place where you can report your financials and practice transparency, and anything else I might have gone over. Business plan of action that outlines, and then your company policy. Uh, what you need to do at that point is, once you get these things written out, you need to see a business attorney, and they will let you know if there's something that you simply just didn't think of, or didn't even know you had to add, or something you should take out that may be a legality, or something that may hang you up or trip you up in the future. A business attorney can look that plan over and make some corrections, suggestions, and whatever. And then you need to see a notary and have it notarized and finalized. So basically, the attorney says, okay, you need to take out this, add that, and he makes the corrections, and then the notary goes and verifies the validity of your business. And validity means you know the truth, like truth telling, what validates this. So and another real quick thing I need to add, now that I'm trying to end this video, I'm starting to remember all these like really important things. When you are researching stuff for your business, don't Google it. Okay, try to find a university that has a public domain, meaning that you can get into their university library, and then usually in the search box terms, there will be an opportunity to click on stuff that is a peer-reviewed journals and articles. And what a peer-reviewed journal or article does is, this is like a board of directors, which that's another thing. As a business, you need to establish people that you trust, that are well educated, have many years in the business, maybe physically fit, for the business. They've proven themselves beyond reasonable doubt that they are more than qualified to advise you and tell you what to do in a time of crisis. Okay, so you need a board of directors of a panel of people, about 10 people that you really feel like you can trust. Even if you just have 5, start with some people and make it official. And you may even need to write a little mini corporate policy for a board of directors there, okay, and how they're going to conduct meetings and so forth. So I think that pretty much covers it. I'll probably have to go back to this video, make some corrections or whatever. But it seems like there was something I was going to say before I got into the board of directors, but I forgot now, so it must not have been that big of a deal. But anyways, I wish you best of luck, and we will talk again soon. All right. Good night, everybody.